Columbus. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
As I was walking down the street one day, a man came up to me and asked me what the time was. That was all.
Did you feel lucky last night, lottery? It was not kind to the Grizz. They did not get that pick. New Orleans will end up with the Lakers pick because that pick ended up being 8th. It was crazy, though. Do you know, J-Mo, what the percentage Orlando had of being the number one pick in the lottery?
I don't.
14%. So they jumped like Houston and Detroit, and they got the number one pick. And, of course, the Grizzlies were not fortunate in that regard, so they will still keep the 2 picks they have at the bottom unless they make a move. Jimmy Butler rescued the Heat. Man, was he good, especially at the free throw line. He's almost Steph Curry-like. If he starts to drive and you breathe on the dude, he's going to get the call. But you know what? There was no Marcus Smart. There was no Al Horford. And that was the difference, really, I think, in the game. Boston got off to a great start, led by as many as 13. And then they figured out how to stop Jason Tatum, and Jimmy Butler went crazy, and he got to the line 18 times, made 17 free throws. In the meantime, Jaylen Brown is missing free throws like he's Kyle Anderson. And it's Miami holding on to home court. They win game 1, and they win it rather easily. The unbelievable third quarter, 39-14, including a 22-2 run. And so they are off and running. Tatum had 29 in the game. What do you have, 20 in the first half, J-Mo?
Yeah,
I think so.
He had a ton of them. There were so many ebbs and flows of that game, though. Even in the first half, I guess it was mostly in the first half because that big run you just mentioned to start the third quarter there for the Heat. But it seemed like every time the team would go on around, it was like, oh, man, this is the run that's going to end the game. It's the Celtics in the first half gone 1. The Heat come back and gone 1. And then looking in the box score, other than the free throws, like you mentioned, the Celtics really dominated the box score of this game. It's actually really surprising. Like, if you look at points in the paint, the Celtics won that. If you look at second chance points, the Celtics won that. If you look at fast break points, the Celtics won that. Really, the only way the Heat won the game was on the scoreboard, and I guess winning at home helped.
Well, no, you know what? I think they won one quarter, but they won it so convincingly. Because I believe if you look, Boston won first quarter, second quarter, and fourth quarter.
That's right.
But when you lose a quarter, 39-14, you're going to lose the game. And that's exactly what happened.
And they were reeling, too. Like, I mean, there was bickering in the huddle. I mean, they were really reeling for that during that
Grant
stretch.
Williams, I tell you, he's a winner. He's the guy that was trying to be the most level-headed dude. And there you see Marcus Smart. He's trying to get everybody fired up in street clothes. That doesn't work. You got to play. And he's got a sore foot. And the Horford thing, that's too bad because Al got surprisingly at the last second put into COVID protocol. That means he's missing game 2. Maybe missing game 3.
Yeah, it'll be close with that.
That is a huge loss. When I said Boston, I thought of all the teams of the 4 finalists, they were the best teams. They were the most, I thought, most sure team. I felt like going in to win the championship, and it's all close. Let's be honest. And by the way, there's a common denominator. Those 4 teams are in the top 7 defensively in the NBA. So, that. But you're missing 2 key parts. That's going to kill you.
You're lucky, unless it's game 3, which I hope it's just games 1 and 2. If they can, maybe they can work some scheduling out. But if it is games 1 and 2, you're lucky they're on the road because we've already seen series in the last round that have gone where you lose 2 on the road and you come back and win at home.
It's like you say, the series doesn't start till the team loses a home game.
Right? No, I agree.
And that's the way it will work. Speaking of weird stats, and I give Chris Harrington from the Daily Memphian this. So he graded out and I don't disagree with him with his power rankings, the top 4 Memphis Grizzlies, in his mind, and he was doing this as part of what will they do this summer, what moves will they make. So his top 4.
Like important to the team now is what you're saying.
Exactly. Or just valued by the league, I guess.
Oh, I see.
As well. But in order importance to the team and probably their value in the league, okay? They would be Ja. No one's going to argue with that. And then he literally has a tie with Bane and Jaren Jackson Jr., those 3. And then Dylan Brooks is 4. Actually, it may be Brooks and Jaren Jackson Jr. that he ties and Bane. But those are the top 4, okay? All right. So how many games do you think this season? This is part of the problem with the NBA in my mind, but most of this was injury and other issues that caused it. But this is mind-blowing. So those are the 4 best players this team has. How many games did those 4 players actually play together this year?
Oh, very little. Especially if you factor in Dylan Brooks playing and John not playing down the stretch of the season.
Right.
I'm going to say 5, 6.
11.
Oh, it was
but
more
still,
than 10.
11?
Yeah,
out
that's
of
still not very many.
82-game schedule?
Yeah.
And then add in the playoffs. So they played 7. They played 6 and 6. They played 12 games, right? So that's 94 games, and they played 11. So basically 1/9, pretty much, of the season they played together. I mean,
some perspective.
That it's amazing they won all those games. When you think about it, and their top 4 only played 11 times together. That's amazing to me.
If you're going to give the 4, you got to give Steven Adams, though. You know, not to say his importance in terms of the franchise long term is the same as these other 4 guys.
Well, he's in the top 8.
Yeah. He's got to be 5th, I would guess. I mean, if you're going to name those 4 guys, because he facilitates so much offense for you.
I don't know that he was 5th. They had he had Zaire Williams high, which
maybe for the future you're looking at a prospect.
But he was in the top 8 for sure. I just can't remember where. We can look that up later. But the bottom line is your top 4 guys have to be with you more than 1/9 of the season, right?
Certainly for play.
10, let's just say 10% of the season. That's crazy.
Certainly for playoff success, just playing together. Look at how the Celtics, we talk about all the time, the people were writing the Celtics off that Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum can't play together, and they give voice to the fact that it wasn't that we can't play together. We kind of have new pieces. We're put together with a new coach in a new way. It takes some time for that to gel together more than just winning a lot of games in a regular season. The same can be said for the Grizzlies. Even though you win all those games not playing together, it takes time to gel to win in the playoffs.
I know Jaylen Brown ended up with in the high 20s like yesterday, but man, there's an inconsistent player. I mean, he's not like Tatum or Smart. Those guys really, I think, deliver every night. Jaylen Brown, to me, has an upside that is amazing, and he plays well with Tatum, but he's just not a consistent guy. And his free throw shooting really hurt the team last night.
Certainly on offense, I'd have to agree with you. I think he's a little more consistent on defense.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And Robert Williams.
Oh, I like him.
Well, he was fantastic.
Something else.
And he's missed so many playoff games already. But if he's there with those guys, I still think that's the team with the best chance to win the championship. But they got to have all their pieces.
I'd have to say the best team. Yeah, like you said, with all their pieces. But man, you add Robert Williams back with that group. That might be the best team left. You're right.
One other kind of big story that we got to touch on was in my sort of headlines, and that is USA Soccer. USA Soccer actually got into the 21st century because they actually signed a player agreement with both their men's and women's national team through 2028, and the pay and the structure and the travel, hotel, everything is equal. And frankly, it should have been for a long time, because if we just go back, and I don't think this necessarily will be true going forth, because the men's national team with Pulisic and all these other guys, they are going to be spectacular. I think they're going to be the best American team we've had. And, they're going to qualify for the World Cup. But the women who've won a World Cup have been actually the bigger draw. They've been the more successful team, and they've gotten much less money. And so, congratulations, USA Soccer. They have an equal and finally settled deal with both their national teams. This is another great story, and I'm so happy for our friend Tony Madlock, who, went to South Carolina State, was one of the worst programs in the world, and got them in his first year almost to 500. Almost to 500. They kind of faltered there at the end. He parlays that into moving to Alabama State. That's in Montgomery, isn't it?
I believe that's right, yeah. South Alabama.
Yeah, a lot of good golf courses around Montgomery, and very close to get down to Destin for vacations, and it's not terrible.
Robert Trent Jones.
Yeah, exactly. And then, right down the road, so there's one in Montgomery, but right down the road in a little town called Greenville, I think that's the best secret of all of the Robert Trent Jones courses. I can't remember the name of it. It's the most, believe it or not, because there are so many mountainous courses.
Cambrian Ridge?
Cambrian Ridge.
Cambrian Ridge.
Cambrian Ridge. That's 36 holes of, they're hard. They're so beautiful. That's like another great secret around Memphis. Have you ever played the Ridges of Village Creek?
I don't believe I have.
Oh, my gosh. It's in Wynn. So you take 40, and the first exit Forest City, now you're talking Brett Norsworthy territory. Instead of going left to go see Brett, you go right. You go past the junior college, and you go about, 40 minutes. And you come to Village Creek State Park, and the Ridges, spectacular, 27 holes. You think you're in the Carolina Highlands. You do not believe you are in the Delta. It's fantastic. But I digress. I love Cambrian Ridge, and it's just outside of Montgomery. But the story that I really started to talk about here, and we're going to do plenty of golf because we got golf picks with Mickey Barker and Johnny Lyon. J-Mo's going first because he is sunk to the bottom. I got you by a couple of 100,000. Johnny still got a good lead. He's got $1 million lead on Mickey Barker. But $1 million lead, that's second place at a major. So everything's still up for grabs, and the PGA is at Southern Hills. We're going to talk with them about that. But I digress again. Let me get to the story about Tony Madlock. Bartlett's Amari Knox. Remember, he was one of the first who committed to the University of Memphis and Penny Hardaway last year, long time ago. And then I think it was around December he decommitted.
I don't think I remember him.
Well, he's a 3-star guy. He's not a 4 or 5-star guy. He's a 3-star guy, but he's really a good player. He's from Bartlett High School. He got them all the way. He was originally at Central. When COVID hit, he wanted to play. His family moved him to Bartlett, and he's been terrific for Bartlett. So they ended up going to the semifinals of the state championship game, losing by 1 point to the eventual state champion in their division, in their level of play. And I think that they're just below the top level of competition in the state, right? Bartlett is?
Second biggest division?
Second biggest division, I think so. Anyway, they were 1 point away in the semis, lost, and I think Knox took a shot to try to win the game and lost it, didn't make it. So they lost, and that team went on to win the championship. They lost by 1 to that particular team. And in all fairness, after he decommitted to Memphis, which may have been Penny going, I think you should go somewhere else, because the interest that he got was not amazing. But he's really a solid player. I mean, I think he could play at a Power 5 level. I think he's good enough. But he is going to play at Alabama State for Tony Madlock. So Tony's going to have this kid and his son. His guard spots are solid. I don't really know much about the league Alabama State is in or the other teams that are in it, but I would have to say, with those two guys, they're going to be competitive. If he gets any kind of a big guy, an inside game, wow, they're going to be terrific. But Madlock gets a big name because this guy is a good player. I promise you, he's a winner.
No doubt about that. The Alcorn State won the league last year. Texas Southern's in that league too, coached by Johnny Jones.
Johnny Jones,
it looks
yeah.
like. So that, I mean, that's if I'm on the right league, that is, which I think I am. But that's a huge asset to have. Is two kind of middle tier, like could go either way players in terms of playing high major or mid major.
So Alcorn say that's the SWAC, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's what it says.
So
here.
he went. So Tony's going from the MEAC to the SWAC.
That's right. Yeah, so Alabama State's in the same. Yeah, that's right. They're in the SWAC. They're in the East Division. There's two divisions in the SWAC apparently. Right. But that's really huge to have as two middle tier players there. Could go high major, could go mid major.
Two guys that we know could have played at a better than a mid major. They could have played at a major school. Knox and Madlock could have played at a major school.
And even more importantly, especially in a Southern college collegiate conference, which is unfortunate, a good basketball coach, which I believe Tony Madlock to be a very good basketball coach, is a huge asset to have in these leagues as well. I mean, not to throw stones at Johnny Jones, but not the greatest schematic coach in the world. I mean, playing top of the league every year. I think Tony Madlock is going to be pretty good.
I'm going to tell you something. You know, people always say that. Look at Johnny Jones' record overall.
Oh,
and he's
wins
done
games
it at different levels. It's not just his players. He's got to have scouts. He's got to know how to stop people. He's won. How many games did he win in Denton, Texas, in CUSA, which is a mid-major, but decent?
190 and 146, so 56%, not bad.
What did he do at LSU?
LSU, he was 90 and 72, about 55%. And now at Texas Southern, he's 76 and 53, 58%. So his highest winning percentage yet.
So he's about a 57% guy.
Not terrible at all. He wins games. Not saying he's a bad, super low tier.
He won titles, obviously, in the SWAC. I don't know if they ever won a title at LSU. They won titles at North Texas.
Yeah, he was first in 2009, 2010. He finished first at North Texas. That's the only year they finished first, but there's a couple seconds, some thirds in there. So he's playing top of the league, went to the tournament twice.
I mean, only one team wins a championship
That's right.
every year.
That's right.
I think schematically he's a pretty sound guy. Didn't he win a tournament game, upset somebody 2 years ago or something like that?
It looks like he's never been past the round of 64. So maybe he won an early round game or whatever they call it, the first four game and got there, but he never got past
that could have very well been it. I think that is correct. I think he won a first four. But anyway, what a story for our friend Tony Madlock, who Tony should have had a shot somewhere better than this years ago. And I'm glad he is making the most of it. We mentioned Bain a little bit earlier. There's a great story about the relationship between Desmond Bain and soon-to-be Tiger. We could say that because he's committed and signed, and that's Kendrick Davis. They were teammates at TCU when Kendrick Davis was first a college player, a freshman, and I believe at that time Bain may have been a junior. And Davis credits Bain with making him the college player he became. Says, Kendrick Davis, I never realized the kind of work you had to put in, and Desmond Bain just dragged me along. Oh, and by the way, Bain is now doing that to Zaire Williams, and guess who their third partner is going to be in workouts 2 or 3 times a day all summer long? That would be Kendrick Davis. He's going to join those two. I know they work out at a high school gym a bunch because a buddy of mine's son will rebound for them. So
they probably get
Davis is only going to get better and better and better. I don't know if Davis is quite big enough to be an NBA guy. I know he's quick enough, and I know his shot's good enough. But he's going to get a chance here to prove himself, and we'll see what he ends up being. He's slight of stature, but he's pretty stout. And I'm going to tell you this much: Lester Quinones to me is so much like Anderson used to be from Memphis in the 2008 team. He's the glue guy, and he's a really good perimeter defender. And I never saw anybody blow by him like Kendrick Davis did. Now, I mentioned that to Lester one time in a post-game interview, and he goes, yeah, I kind of tripped up. But that is only going to make Davis better working out with those guys. Yeah, it's a really good story how, Desmond Bain probably doesn't get enough love in this town because the guy is a flat-out player. He's only going to get better. It'll be interesting to see because you remember Zach Kleiman said, of those that we want to retain, I can't imagine him not wanting to retain Desmond Bain.
Especially, like you said, if he's power ranked fourth in those lists there, Desmond Bain, you're right, doesn't get enough love in the city.
Yeah. This is a sad story. I'm really kind of upset about it. Former Bears running back Tarek Cohn. He wrote a story. If you get a chance, guys, Google this. If you want to read a good story. Do you ever read anything from the Players Journal?
I
JMO?
love the Players Tribune.
Players Tribune.
Well, I love it. It's one of my favorite places
so
to go read.
This is one of the best player stories I've ever read. Tarek Cohn wrote about himself and his trials and tribulations and growing up and how he should have done some things because he's lost a brother. I think he's lost two brothers now. He came from a poor, small family, but he's an overachieving guy. And he did have some success and signed one really good deal with the Bears. The Bears released him because he, frankly, has had some issues, ACL, MCL combination, that were really hard for him to come back from. And the Bears, paid him a bunch of money, so he got his money. And he was productive with the Bears, but the Bears finally sort of gave up on him last December. And he writes in the Players Journal about how he's finally feeling healthy. He's going to come back, so he's training. And he films this training session live on Instagram. Like we're live on Instagram, right? And Twitter and all these other
Twitch
things.
And YouTube, you name it.
That are all beyond my comprehension. But he understands how to use the social media. So he's doing a live stream, and he's doing a sprint, and he blew out his Achilles. Guy hasn't played in 2 years. And he blows out his Achilles live on a stream in training. I would have to say his career is over. That is so sad because I always liked him. He was an underdog guy. I believe he played for an HBCU. He came up the hard way. The Bears took a chance on him. It was a really good success story till he got injured. Here he is trying to make his comeback, and he writes about all of that in the Players Tribune, and you'll love the story. It's so beautifully written, and then this happened. That is really, really, I think, a sad, sad story. But that's what happens in sports. At least I think he got, I'm going to say $15 million over his career. So if you have half of that, when it's over $7.5 million, you should be able to parlay that into a pretty darn good life. You get a pension from the NFL, I think, when you reach 50 and, everything else. So I really wish him the best, but that is a sad story when I read about that today. In the meantime, I'm sitting in the Family Leisure Studios. The Vacation at Home sale is continuing. Make your backyard special. There's play gyms and trampolines. I got them for $500 off. Hot tubs in stock and ready to go. And if you pick it up yourself, we're talking $1,000 off. If you're a real do-it-yourself specialist, you can get an above-ground pool. Pick it up, install it yourself, say $1,500. I think that's worth it. All you got to do is get to I-40 and Whidden Road. Go see the backyard specialist, the patio furniture specialist, the guys that bring your family together. That is Family Leisure. And, of course, our title sponsor, as always, it's Homer. Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch. Homer has more and more new cars coming in. And the general manager, Chris True's got a crew that's been together 20, 25 years, know their product, know their people, get so many renewals. Chris True's new credo is you'll never pay more than sticker price on a new car. Because in this day and age, with the shortage of new cars, there are some dealerships that are up in it. They live by the law of supply and demand. Many do that. You won't get that with Homer Skelton Hyundai. Not the one in Olive Branch. Homer Skelton Hyundai says you'll never pay more than sticker price. We pause for just a second. When we come back, we talk PGA, talk a little strategy maybe. We'll make our golf picks, and we do that in just 1 minute. Mickey Barker and Johnny Lyon will both join us. This is Wolo and Friends.
Let former Memphis Tiger Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy take you home every afternoon with Sports Time on Sports 56. Weekdays from 3 to 6 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
If you have damage to your home and have your insurance carrier involved, you need a great contractor. You also need a team that has seen claims of all shapes and sizes, residential or commercial. After our inspection, we'll share our findings and give you our professional opinion. Some people say you get what you pay for. However, our opinion is free. Trust the name you can depend on, like the tens of thousands of families Brian and I have served over the past 20 years here in the Mid-South. Brian Elder Roofing. We'll measure your roof from outer space and share our team's experience for your property and claim. Repaired roofs, replacement roofs, big roofs, tiny roofs, insurance roofs, flat roofs, TPO roofs, asphalt roofs, tile roofs, slate roofs, metal roofs. If your roof needs some love, call me. 901-867-0303 for Brian Elder Roofing and Contracting.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Add a little excitement to your sports watching experience by betting on all the action on FanDuel Sportsbook. There's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Their app is simple to use. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique fun bet types like same-game parlay, and exclusive always-on promotions such as enhanced odds boosts on the biggest events to let you get more action out of every game day. And if you win, they even get you your winnings safely in as little as 24 hours. If you've never tried FanDuel Sportsbook, what are you waiting for? Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started, and be sure to sign up with promo code BIGHEAD so they know I sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code BIGHEAD. Must be 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call Tennessee Redline. 1-800-889-9789.
Hey Mid-South, this month buying a car is as easy as one and done. Call in here from DeSoto Auto Sales. Just visit one dealership, put just $1 down, and you're done. You could drive a nicer, newer car today. Even if buying a car has been hard in the past, we've got the one-and-done solution for every situation. Still owe on your current lease or loan? One and done. Payments too high? One and done. Nervous about past credit mishaps? One and done. Because my For the People credit approval process is the one to get it done. It's that easy. So ditch your old ride and drive a nicer, newer car for just $1 down. Only at my one-and-done sale. I'm Colin, and I'm your dealer for the people. See all the cars online at DeSotoAutoSales.com. That's DeSotoAutoSales.com.
Credit and $1 down require bank approval. Negative equity may be refinanced. Offer absolutely expires on May 31st, 2022.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Lonely feeling deep inside. Find a corner where I can hide.
Welcome back in. The PGA starts up tomorrow. I think Rory and Tiger, and there's one other big name playing in the 9:12 tee time. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about that with Mickey Barker and Johnny Lyons here in just a minute. You know, with summer, you get the PGA, get these majors, but you also get summer sizzling specials from Dinstall's, and strawberries are the summer sizzler special this week, starting tomorrow. You know they're made fresh every Thursday, so you don't want to miss out on this special opportunity with a special price on strawberries, and nobody makes strawberries like Dinstall's. Nobody has for 120 years. I'm not sure they've been doing the strawberries for all 120. Probably for the last 100. They figured out this fondant, breaks down the strawberry, it's covered with that chocolate. There's nobody in the world, I promise you, that does strawberries like Dinstall's, and they're the summer sizzler special. You can still get the turtlettes. You can still get the Cashew Crunch. Nobody does Cashew Crunch either because there's that little tinge of coconut. Now, I promise you, No one in the country does Cashew Crunch. That's why this place is so special. They are the candy of the Mid-South. That's Dinstall's, 5 locations where they make it in Pleasant View, Germantown, Collierville, my neighborhood, Laurelwood, and downtown. 5 places to go and get the best candy in the world. And the Summer Sizzler special this week is strawberries at Dinstall's. So Mickey Barker joins us now, head of Memphis City Golf. Johnny Lyon, formerly of Mid-South Golfer, joins us as well. Johnny continues to lead, but his lead at 3.3 million is only slightly ahead of Mickey at 2.9 million. I'm $1 million behind. J-Mo is behind me by about 150,000 with $1.75 million. So he is going to go first. Mickey, I start with you. What's your favorite storyline of this PGA at Southern Hills?
Well, I think my favorite storyline would have to be Spieth going for the Grand Slam. This may be his best opportunity. He's playing the best coming in. The pre-shot routine is still very strange, but it seems to really be working for him right now.
It is kind of weird because he has this exaggerated, almost loopy practice swing, and then he doesn't swing exactly that way when he swings. So it is kind of weird, but if he does win, he'd become the first guy ever to complete a career Grand Slam at the PGA Championship, so that would be cool. Johnny, what's your favorite storyline?
Oh, I guess that Tiger Woods is playing. That's pretty big news. And that Phil is not defending. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
At least Tiger is playing. I think it's going to create a lot of excitement.
I think it's crazy that Phil is not. He's only the 5th guy never to defend a major. All the other guys have done it by injury, because of injury or death. And I don't think Phil's whole career has died, so to speak. I think he'll probably be one of those guys who will recover his fall from grace. But it is interesting that he is hidden so low. Nobody knows why he decided not to play in this event. This is also, I think, an era of the deepest fields we have ever seen. Johnny, I start with you. Have you, in your career of covering these events, and it's 40 or 50 years you've been doing this, have you ever seen a deeper field? I think there's 30 guys that could win the PGA. I really do. And in years past, it was really 5 or 6.
Yeah, I think, what do they say, like 98 out of the top 100 are in it, or 156 out of 175 in the world. So, yeah, tremendous field. Everybody that's, a lot of good young players. I mean, there's just so many choices who's going to win this.
Mickey, your thoughts on the depth of the field, and I like I said, I can't remember a deeper time in the history of the sport.
No, not at all. I think like you said, I think you probably have 30 guys that could easily win. And the PGA, year after year, typically will, that first-time major winner, in some cases the first time they've ever won a tour event is at the PGA. So there seems to be not quite as much pressure as there is for the U.S. Open and the Masters or the British Open. So sometimes we get those guys that are further back down in the world golf rankings or in the field that come up and win.
I agree with that, and I think there's a great example of our own Sean McKeel, who, by the way, is in the field this week. He would be eligible as a shock pick if any of you are thinking of that. We all love Sean. We truly do. I'm with you. I think of all the majors, the people that come from the furthest behind or the most obscure guys or winning maybe their only major, it comes from this event. So I was listening to Rory McIlroy. I think he was talking about playing the strategy of Southern Hills. And, he's won 2 PGAs, 4 majors. The last one was in 2014. He ran away with a PGA at Kiowa Island. And he was talking a little bit about just sort of strategy. And he was saying, I'm maybe readjusting the way I think a bit. I may be more like Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods, I know he's run away with a couple, but for the most part, Tiger goes, in majors, pars are good, play conservatively, let the other guys make mistakes. Is that the way you think it's the best strategy. I'll start with Mickey in a major, or in particular this one at Southern Hills.
I think so, just because of the difficulty of the golf course. For Rory, I think he typically starts very slow and then really gets going on the weekend. So if he can manage to stay away from the early bogeys and the big numbers in the first couple of rounds, I think he may be very tough to beat. But yeah, I think he's right on. I mean, Tiger has the most majors of anybody in the field by far, and so I think his strategy is the correct way to go.
Johnny, what do you think? What's the best way to play Southern Hills?
A lot like Lauren Roberts played golf, where par is a premium. Don't make any big mistakes. Lauren had a great career, one of the greatest in the world, and he was always right up there, close to par, even par, and that's always great in a major.
Well, and I love it. I think a great major is going to be, the winner's going to be 4 under, 6 under, something like that. U.S. Opens maybe a little bit less, but I like that kind of a score. I don't like 26 under like we saw last week. I mean, you take it, that guy K.H. Lee, he owns that golf course in Dallas. In 2 tournaments that he's won both, he was 51 under par. Now, that to me is crazy. I don't like that kind of golf. What do you think the scores will be? Johnny, I'll start with you this time. What do you think we end up with a total score here?
I think maybe like 6, 7 under. I'm thinking.
That's my kind of golf. Mickey?
I hope we're 10 under or less. That would be ideal. I think last week is great to have the Birdie Fest the week before a tournament. Those guys don't need to get beat up, going into a major. So I like that formula of having a pretty easy test the week before and then really make it tough for the major.
Well, just let me remind you, 26 under is what John Cook shot at TPC Southwind, and then they redid the course. I don't know if they're going to do that in Dallas, but that's too much. I know these guys are good, but 26 under, that is crazy. Okay, let's make our picks for the second major of the year. The only guy that can win a Grand Slam this calendar year would be Scotty Scheffler because he won at Augusta. He's in there. J-Mo now slipping to the – by the way, J-Mo told me he lost on purpose last week so that he could get the first pick in the second major. So your strategy has worked. J-Mo, can you take advantage of that?
Yeah, everything is falling right into place for me. My first pick, I'm really emphasizing this week strokes gained off the tee and strokes gained around the green. Because of that, I'm going to take Rory McIlroy. He's been playing well. He's 3rd off the tee, 14th around the green. I like Rory.
That'll be his 5th major and his 3rd PGA. Hasn't won a major since 2014, although he's won 20 tournaments. I like that pick. Mickey, sorry to do this to you, my friend. I'm going with the sense of history, and I'm going with because I think he's actually playing really good. I'm willing to put up with 1 or 2 missed putts per round, probably 1 or 2 lack of focus swings in the middle of the round, because he somehow seems to be able to recover. But the career Grand Slam for the first time will occur at Southern Hills, the first time it's ever happened at a PGA. I'm taking Jordan Spieth.
Great pick, Dave. It makes my decision much easier now that you take him, and I hope you're the winner on this one because I'd like to see him do it. But I'm going to take Scotty Scheffler. Cannot pick the number 1 player in the world.
I guess not. So, Johnny, somehow, some way, you have led wire to wire here, even with the 4th pick. Can you keep it up?
Yeah, well, we're going to give it a shot here. Of course, going 4th every week is always a challenge, but I'm going to take John Rahm.
Okay, Rahm has had a good year.
A little excited
yeah.
about. A lot of anticipation. He seems to be fired up.
He's like a lot of guys. They lose interest for a short period of time after they get married and have a kid. But it seems to me his focus is getting a little bit better. All right, now, below 50, that's 51, and on, all the way to whatever you want to do. That's called the shock pick. J-Mo, you go first on this one, too.
I'm going to take the Indian, Anaban Lahiri. He, like I said, I'm really emphasizing strokes gained off the tee and around the green this week. He's one of two guys outside the top 50 to be in the top 50 in both those categories. The other one being Chris Kirk, who I've taken 3 times, and he's burned me every time because he can't putt. So I'm going to take Anaban Lahiri.
Now, you've left me some really good players. And there's, Jason Day is a guy who's now below the top 50. And he has had what I think is sort of a recovery of swing. He's coming on. I could pick him. Ricky Fowler is only eligible to play in the one major this year, did not play at Augusta, has not made the U.S. Open at this point, has not made St. Andrews at this point. This is the only tournament he could be in. He is below 50. You could pick him. But, guys, I got to go with the old guy who says he's stronger. How can I not take if he's available? Because he's the guy I really want to win. I got to go with Tiger Woods.
I was hoping you might forget about him, but it's kind of hard to forget about Tiger.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with. Really thought about going with Stuart Sink because he played well there in the U.S. Open that Retief Goosen won, but I'm going to go with Ryan Palmer. Played well last week. That typically doesn't play well in the PGA, but just have a feeling about him this year.
Okay, Ryan, and he clearly is eligible. His rank is, I believe, in the 60s now. And Johnny, who do you pair up with Jon Rahm?
I'm going with Webb Simpson. He's pretty hot.
Okay, and he does fit the eligibility rank, so you've got Webb Simpson. So here we go. J-Mo's got Rory and Lahiri. I've got Spieth and Tiger. Mickey's got Scheffler, the number 1 player in the world, and Ryan Palmer. And Johnny's got Jon Rahm and Webb Simpson. I think it's going to be terrific. I'm with you guys. I think it'll be about 6 to 8 under. That will be our final score. Gentlemen, thank you much, and we'll take an accounting and make picks next week as well. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dave.
Good year.
You got it.
Thank you, Wolo.
Thank you.
Thank you, J-Mo.
Mickey Barker and Johnny Lyon, brought to you by the good folks at Conway. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, and let's not forget the tune-up, because the tune-up is critical, especially it's going to be in the 90s again. 90 degrees. Your house cool? Is it efficient? Do you have enough Freon? They check this out with the $69 16-point saver energy super tune-up. It's just standard in the Woloshin household. We do it twice a year. We're Comfort Club members. You can do that too. Check them out. Call 384-3511 if you have an interest in that, because you get priority if something goes wrong. And the service charge to come out is cheaper if you've got any kind of issues. But the tune-up, and you get those if you're a Comfort Club member. The tune-up's critical. Winter and summer, get your Freon check to have the whole 16-point schmear done. The outside units, they get all cleaned up. Everything's efficient. Your MLGW bill goes down, and your system will last longer. It's just common sense. Get cool the right way. Make sure your house stays cool by calling Conway, 384-3511. We're back in just 1 minute. We'll end our Wednesdays like we always do with our friend from Action News 5. That would be Jarvis Greer. He's right around the corner.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Are you overworked and underpaid in that employment rut with no promotion in sight, or did you just lose your job? Then you need to contact the experts at Pro Resume. Go to ProResume.biz or call 685-1950, the fastest way to a new job.
Tired of this, man, not again. It's already dark out here. I'm in the middle of nowhere. Who gonna tow me this late?
Have you called A1's Towing and Hauling?
Ma'am, my whole front axle's off my car. I don't think anyone can tow this.
They can tow anything, from cranes to semis to buses to wrecked cars. You need to give them a call.
Tolls starting as low as $45. Call the Go Army, 901-685-HELP. 901-685-HELP. We can tow anything.
Hey, I got Jeff Allen live on the phone. Hey, what's going on over there at Gossett Kia, South Mount Moriah?
Look, Randy, it's crazy over here, and that's because we'll do whatever it takes to put you in a new Kia today. Check this out. I've got a 2022 Kia Forte LXS, only $219 a month, and a 2022 Kia Soul LX, $240 a month. Both 36-month lease and $27.99 due at signing. And if you're looking for some SUV action, 2022 Kia Sorento LX, $315, 36-month lease, and $34.99 due at signing.
And I know all Gossett Kias are equipped with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
That's right, Randy. So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia Mount Moriah.
2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMountMoriah.com. All 36-month leases, Forte NE 483 548, MSRP 21435, sold NHO 2976, MSRP 22045, Sorrento NG 116657, MSRP 31290. Includes all rebates and incentives, must finance through Kia, excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 6/2/22. Dealer stock only. Warranties. A limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. As we all know, Memphis can be a hotbed for severe weather, and that weather can play havoc on our roofs. Most people don't know what they should do first when they're concerned about the condition of their roof. Call their insurance company, call a contractor, or trust a door-to-door salesman that's making claims that are hard to believe. My advice would be call the contractor that you know and trust. If you don't know any, research your local contractors and give 2 or 3 a call. I hope your research will lead you to us. Have your roof inspected, decide for yourself what you should do, and whether or not you should file a claim with your insurance company. It's your home, it's your policy, and it's your money. Don't let anyone pressure you into anything. If you give Five Ash Roofing a call, we promise personal service with a member of our family with no pressure and no hype. Five Ash Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Final portion of our Wednesday. Jarvis Greer from Action News 5 comes your way in a second. He's brought to you, less like he is hometown. It's brought to you by your hometown place. That would be Grind City Brewing and their wonderful, wonderful Pilsner, Poppy's Pills, just what the doctor ordered. That's the Pilsner from Grind City, light, crisp, and refreshing. They like to say built for speed and ultra crushable. And as I said, it's hometown. Man, you can get it in 6-packs or you can get it in 15 packs. Ask your favorite retailer about it because they're going to have it. Best enjoyed ice cold because you're going to come off the golf course or maybe a soccer game, maybe watching a soccer game like Jarvis Greer does a lot, and you're thirsty. This is the way to go. It's hometown. It's Grind City. It's what the doctor ordered. It's Poppy's Pills, that great new Pilsner. Jarvis Greer will put a little bow to the season of the Memphis Grizzlies with you, and what were your expectations? Let's start right there. When this season began, I know I thought, man, I hope they make the play-in. This is supposed to be a rebuild, right? And they ended up with the second best record in the NBA. So this was all like bonus to me.
Well, let me say that I did not think that they would end up with the second best record in the NBA, but I did think they would make the playoffs outright, because I knew what they had coming back and how well they had played, and they had a little bit of that scar tissue from making the play-in and getting into the first round against Utah. And it was the only thing I didn't know would how well the Steven Adams transition would be from Jonas Valanciunas, who was beloved here, and everybody thought he was great, but it worked out beautifully. And then once they took off after they kind of stumbled out of the gate a little bit, scored a lot of points, but gave up a whole lot. What were they, like 9 and 10 at one point?
Yeah.
And then they took off. They figured it out, and it was just an incredible run. So I was pleasantly surprised, but I could see it coming because the collection of talent that they have and how well they played together, and then Ja took that leap, and I mean took a leap to being the player that the number 2 overall pick should be, and we're seeing it early in his career, and it just sky's the limit for this team.
I don't know if you were listening earlier, but Chris Harrington did a nice piece, and he rated every player.
Yeah.
And the top 4 players were Ja and Jackson and Bain and Brooks. And you were just talking about how they figured it all out. To me, what's amazing, Do you know how many games those four played together?
They didn't play very many. What, 12?
11,
Maybe if you count
11 games all told.
11 games.
To win
Yeah,
52 out of the 94 games, they actually ended up winning more than that. They won
56.
They won 6 games, right? So they won 58, right? 58. 52 and 6 in the regular, and they won 4 and 2. So that's 6, 58.
Yeah.
58 wins. And only 11 games were played with those two guys out of the 94. That's incredible to me.
It kind of gives you hope for the future, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
They keep this group together, and they all want to stay together. So, there's that. However, there whatever kind of machinations that the front office has to go to keep them, but they're basically still young, and under their, like Dylan Brooks, they'll have to give him an extension, but they got him on a really good number. I think it was $84 million. And they can just extend that, and that's not going to break the bank to do that. Shaw is going to be, he'll get the 181 that they'll sign him to, and then he'll be eligible for the Supermax.
Well, yeah, he can
when
get
his rookie deal expires.
He can get 217.
So, yeah, So they are positioned to do this and be within the cap, and for the next year or so, couple of years at least, before they're really going to have to start, making decisions on people and paying out some big bucks. Like Desmond Bain's going to get a big number, but hey, that's down the road. I'm just thinking next year. Next year is going to be a lot of fun at FedEx Forum.
Well,
and as long as people stay healthy and they get them back in the fold, we know what they can do, and they got a whole nother year of experience and scar tissue to because scar tissue is really what builds these teams. You got to learn how to lose first before you learn how to win, and learn how not to lose. And these guys have been through it now, and they know. And it's a whole lot of what ifs, because it's kind of like 2015 when Mike Conley got hurt, and had that broke face game where he did really well, and they beat the Warriors out there in San Francisco. That was Oakland then.
Yeah.
And then they came back home, and Tony Allen pulled a hamstring, and Conley's meds wore off, from all that procedures that he had around his orbital. And they just were not the same team, and Golden State went on to win that and win the championship. So this is a really good team that Memphis fans and Mid-South NBA fans and NBA fans around the world are definitely interested in watching these Grizzlies.
So we know Ja's going to get the Supermax. What do you do about Brandon Clark? You got to make a decision there. You don't have to do anything with Bain quite yet. But there's expiring contracts with Adams. I don't think Tyus Jones or Kyle Anderson are going to be back. Those two guys could be expendable. What do you see?
Well, Tyus is unrestricted, so he can do whatever he wants to do.
Right.
And the Grizzlies don't have any control over that. He wants to be a starting point guard. But who wouldn't? He's got the ability to do it, and he's got the resume to back him up. It's just whether or not he thinks that, maybe if I get a couple of million more here, is that worth leaving a team that could win a title? You know what I mean? And money's money now. Everybody, don't kid yourself. This is a business. But he could make some of that money up with a nice playoff run. But still, saying you're a starting point guard and you're playing for, some team that's an also-ran, or you're a backup point guard getting a lot of minutes on a team that's, going to win a title. And that's probably what he's weighing himself right now. Brandon Clark, they may go another year before they have to.
Right.
He'll get an extension. I mean, he'll definitely get an extension on his deal, and then they'll see how that goes. He'll get another playoff run to see if he can be consistent in the play, because he had a tremendous series against Minnesota, and then he was kind of up and down against Golden State. So, that could be said, truth could be said about a lot of guys, but, that's why you have a deep roster. So you can, if somebody's doesn't have it one night, you can go to somebody else. And that's what the Grizzlies have had. And it's just unfortunate. Wow. You don't have John Morant for 3 of those games against the Warriors. You could probably win them. I mean, you could probably win each and every one of those games that he didn't play. So, hey, and then Steven Adams didn't play in 2. And he got like just a few minutes in the third,
right.
And then he played the rest of the series because he was coming off COVID and had to work himself back into shape. So, it's so many intriguing things with this team, but the sky is blue, man, and you could jump right in that sucker and have the Grizzlies' name will be mentioned next year as far as all right teams that have a chance to win a title.
No question about that. All right, last thing, because you and I are the only ones that talk about this team, but 901 FC plays tonight. They play against LA Galaxy 2. They're off to their best start, 6-2-1, and this is a team that's totally new. I mean, they only got 5 guys returning from last year.
Yeah, that's what's the amazing part, because everybody was upset, when they lost their leading scorer that went to Miami,
Murphy,
and it's like, wow, Kyle Murphy, and it's like, how do you let that guy go? It wasn't like they let him go. They got paid a lot more money to go there, but they have gone out and they have found some players that fit together that are very good at soccer. They may not, there's not the athlete on that team that Kyle Murphy was up front, but they pass the ball so well and they get themselves in position to score, and they score. And they've gotten good goalkeeping, and Ben Pierman and company, and their whole front office staff, including the great Tim Howard, has done a great job of putting together players that want to play. And you know what? They're kind of like the Grizzlies, and they really enjoy playing with each other. They celebrate each other's
they like
victories
each other.
on the field, and whenever somebody makes a good play.
That is a great
hey, that's a good formula.
That's a great correlation, and I'll tell you, you're right. You hit it spot on. Murphy is a great player, a great scorer. The combination of Malloy and Goodrum, who's the striker, and Malloy's the setup guy, that's, I think, equally as good. In fact, their goal differential at this point is better than it was with Murphy. So this is a fun team to watch. I don't know why folks aren't coming like they used to, but it's going to be a gorgeous night. I hope they do.
It has been, of course, everybody was caught up in the Grizz and the Tigers run there in the NCAA and the NBA playoffs. But remember, it was a horrible spring weather-wise.
Yeah.
It was cold until just here recently. And I mean, like, really cold. It wasn't.
No excuse tonight, Jarvo. They better show.
It's going to be nice tonight.
Yeah,
it's going to be nice tonight, and I think I'll have a good crowd.
I hope so.
They put 3 on the Team of the Week. That's never happened in franchise history. They got 3 players mentioned on Team of the Week. So that shows that overall they've got a lot more depth and a lot more quality than they've ever had.
On the money, as always. Thank you, Jarvis. We'll talk to you next Wednesday.
All right, Dave. Have a good one.
You too. Jarvis Greer from Action News 5, brought to you in part by Miramichi. That's homegrown, too, just like Memphis. Well, that's right. North of Memphis and Woodstock, 10 minutes north of downtown. Go see why Golf Week says if you're playing golf in Tennessee, you've got to include Miramichi. 330 acres of beauty, natural beauty, 7,400 yards if you play the backs. I like it at about 6,300. You can play shorter than that. You've got choice of championship-level golf. And then when it's over, go to the Terrace, a 10,000-square-foot outpost. It overlooks 9 and 18. It's the best view in all of Shelby County. Full-service bar up there, food's up there, televisions to watch sports. Sometimes they got music when you're done playing on the weekend. And by the way, Friday rates, just under $50, $55 on Saturday and Sunday. That includes golf cart and complimentary range balls and the best practice area of any public golf course in the city. Miramichi. It's a place of beauty. That'll do it. We thank Jarvo and we thank Johnny Lyon and Mickey Barker. We'll be here tomorrow. Johnny Radio's next. Have a great day, everyone.